Hello everybody. We are going to go over everything that sold this week. We had a really great week. I tested out again my whole theory about if you just bombard your store on eBay with a ton of new listings and uploads, even if you go in and change things around, maybe edit a couple of some of your older listings, that does create, I'm guessing for the algorithm, it kind of gives it a little boost. And so that's what we're going to see here from a whole week of me doing that every single day. So anyway, we are going to get started and talk about what sold this week. And thank you guys for joining me. Let's get to it. This week, we sold Mr. Peanut. Yes, I know. He is a classic. We picked him up for $1 at a garage sale. We sent an offer for $20. It was accepted and already got it shipped out. It is gone and headed to its new owner. Some of these today are going to be offers that we have sent out. The rest are going to be items that people actually just bought it now. So, all right, here we go. I had picked up this American Girl doll at Goodwill. She was in excellent condition. I was really excited to find her. And she sold, I want to say, within 24 hours. And she sold full price for $65.95. I'm guessing I probably could ask a little more for her, but I wanted to see her go. I needed to get things kind of rolling again on my eBay, with my eBay store. If you happen to get to a place where kind of like your sales are plateaued a little bit, if you will get your items, maybe lower a couple of your items, maybe 1 or 2 items, and sometimes that'll just kind of get the ball rolling. Sometimes it just takes one sale to then cause an avalanche of sales to come in. Do keep that in the forefront of your mind. Is little tips and tricks will help you out. So my husband picked up this plush ram for 50 cents. He got it at one of the bins. It sold this week for $29.95. Buyer paid shipping. Of course, with all my auctions, buyers always pay shipping. Now, this is the second time that this 8mm camera has sold. We picked it up, of course, as you know, for $6.99 at the local Goodwill. Everything was working on it. However, I did list it the first time that because we didn't know anything about the 8mm camera, it turned on, it would zoom in and out, and that's all that I knew that it did. Okay, we sold it the first time. The lady sent it back, said that, you know, it didn't work, but that's kind of what I had in the listing anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Gave her money back, relisted it, and put parts only. Okay, now this time the guy bought it and he was actually happy with it. It sold for $29.95. However, there was a little faux pas on my part. I forgot to include the cord. Yes, I hate when that happens. So in my little station where I set up everything to get everything shipped out and ready, I must have, when I was wrapping the camera, put the cord behind the box, and then as I was maneuvering and getting everything in the box, somehow it fell off behind it and kind of got shoved up underneath. And so then I didn't know anything that, you know, was wrong until the guy messaged me. He was like, hey, it's missing the cord. And I was like, good grief, you know. So then I go and look for it, and sure enough, I find it, and I'm gonna have to ship him that cord. Accidents do happen. We are only human. All right, so moving right along. I picked up this little Hermione plush. It still had the tags on it. Picked her up for 50 cents. She sold this week for $18.95. Now with plushes, it can be kind of tricky on how you ship them. Rule of thumb for me is if they're squishy and not going to get damaged in any way, I will wrap them in saran wrap, which is the plastic cling wrap. I wrap them just in case the package or anything happens to get ripped. That way the inside item is still protected, but I'll just put those in a poly bag and mail them that way. Now, if they have moving parts inside, a rattle, any kind of electronics, they talk, anything like that, then those are the ones that you want to put in a box. Okay, so then we had this Pierce the Veil t-shirt. Picked it up at a Goodwill for $2.45. It sold this week for $12. That was an offer that we sent out on somebody who was interested, and they accepted. Now, I know that you guys know because I talk about it pretty much in every single one of my videos because something each week happens to always sell. But there was a garage sale that I went to earlier in the summer, and they had a ton of Garfield items, and they were all vintage, all of them. Every single one of them was from the early 80s. Well, these particular Garfield cups were, of course, from McDonald's. They were the little, like the coffee cups, the teacups, and there was 6 of them. Sent an offer for those for $15. The buyer accepted it, and those got shipped off this week. That whole lot that we bought of all of that vintage Garfield and mushrooms and all the different vintage items that we bought, there was like a whole set of mushroom dishes too that's also listed on eBay. But that has more than paid for itself just in the past couple of weeks of the things that we've sold here and there. Okay, so next is going to be these salt and pepper shakers. These are Tupperware. They are vintage. Paid 50 cents for them, and they sold for $15.95. I probably kind of had them priced a little low, but like I said, there are some that I will price a little low just to kind of get the ball rolling on my sales for that particular week. Last week at this garage sale, this lady had a whole box of these like vintage Beavis and Butthead coloring books, all from the 90s, okay, all from like 95, 96. And in with this box of stuff, she had a WWE Stacy Keibler stand-up poster, right? I could not find this poster anywhere at all. The posters that I could find were selling for about $19, $25. This one I put on for $39.95, and it sold within 5 minutes of me putting it on. So I'm guessing maybe I listed it just a little too low, but I was too scared. I was kind of scared to go too high too. I mean, I want the stuff to sell, and I mean, I'm only in for 25 cents, so $39 is not bad at all. All right, so okay, now this is a covered dish. Anything ceramic that can break just stresses me out, right? Just stresses me out. But there's some really good money to be made in and with these items. This is an Arabian stone dish. It's really big and super heavy. Anyway, we picked it up at Goodwill for $7, and it sold for $75. That is an offer that we sent, and they accepted. Now, whenever I wrapped it for shipping, I double wrapped everything to make sure that when it gets there, it's all in one piece and not broken in any way. So I'm still waiting to hear back. I think to myself sometimes, I put so much details, just the details, into making sure that the items are wrapped correctly, and it seems like nobody ever gives me positive feedback for it. I'm like, golly. I mean, now the stuff that I do the details, especially on wrapping all of my stuff. I really do. So there are some that do leave me good feedback, and thank you for that if you have. But the ones that I think, man, they should really send me some good feedback because this was just wrapped amazing, I never hear a peep from them. Yeah, I'm like, what is up with that? But it happens, right? Okay. Anyway, so I picked up this Ramopoly game. I think I'm saying that correctly. So it was like a Monopoly game that was made specifically for this particular university, right? And I had seen one that had sold, back in 2018 for like $45, and that was a price that I found on WorthPoint. Well, I thought, okay, so I'll pick it up. Paid $3 for it. Well, we've had it now for about 5 months, and it's been, in our store for about 5 months. My husband sent an offer of $13. The buyer accepted. I shipped it off this week. So I didn't get anywhere close to that $45 mark, but I did sell it, and I did get my money back plus some, but I really wish that it would have gone for a little more, right? Yeah, totally agree. Then I happened to pick up this Canon Sure Shot. Little camera, works, had all of the parts, was still in the box, had all of the components, were still wrapped in plastic. Picked that up for $5 at a yard sale, and it sold for $39.95. If you see anything that is still in the box, especially if it has plastic and stuff on the inside, make sure that you grab it because those sell really, really quickly, and can make you a good profit too, depending on how much you have into it. Next is going to be this little book. Pick this book up for 10 cents. Books, right? Yeah, So pick this book up for 10 cents. It's called The Mad Scientist Club. It's a vintage book. Somebody accepted an offer for it for $7 and already got it shipped off to them. And of course, they paid shipping. Then we picked up this Patagonia t-shirt. This t-shirt was picked up at a Goodwill, and so paid $2.49 for this particular t-shirt. It sold this week for $19.95, and that was a buy it now. Next is going to be this Franciscan Oasis plate. Now this is like a serving plate. It's like a pretty big plate. I had already sold the salad plates. I had 4 of them. I'd already sold those a couple of months ago and got quite a bit for them. And this particular plate, I had seen that it had sold on eBay back in 2019, I believe. And this too was found on WorthPoint. And it sold for $75. So I've had mine for $75 ever since. Not a peep, not a peep, not a peep. Anyway, it sold this week. My husband sent an offer for $40 to the buyer. They accepted, and it got shipped off this week. Oh, and I paid $5 for that plate as well. Now, at this garage sale, I saw all of these vintage little toys. Now, little toys can make you some really, really good money if you know what you're looking for. These were Breyer retired, like a farm scene. I think they're called Blue Ribbon stablemates. Anyway, picked them up at a garage sale for $1, and they sold this week. An offer that we sent for $40. They accepted, buyer paid shipping. I seem to always gravitate, especially towards the plushes and any kind of like little rare toys. I hit the jackpot a lot with those, and it wasn't that I really know what I'm looking for, except that you'll start to notice that the more familiar you become doing this, different toys are they're just made different, and if they have more detail to them, more intricate color, they're more, the little faces are more carved, you realize, ooh, these really are something different. They're not just your regular toys. Now, I had picked up this long sleeve buckle. It had pearl snaps on it. Picked it up for $3.99. It sold this week for $15.95. Now, this next one is kind of an odd sale. My husband happened to see this at a Goodwill. He paid $2.49 for it. It's called Dark Throne. I'd never heard of them, but apparently they are popular with their particular genre or little niche or niche. And anyway, so this t-shirt sold this week for $75. That was an offer that my husband sent to the buyer. They accepted, and that got shipped off this week. Buyer paid shipping for a t-shirt. It's just nuts, right? Now, we got this Tupperware, and I have 2 things that are Tupperware, right, in this list. The salt shakers and this, and I did get them both at the same garage sale. This Tupperware pitcher, paid $2 for it. You'd be surprised how much Tupperware you can find at yard sales. People have Tupperware everywhere. Picked this up for $2. It sold this week for $15.95. Now, I know that I just did a video about these glasses. Well, they sold this week. Bought these ET glasses for $2 at a yard sale. They sold from an offer that we sent out. Buyer accepted, $13. They paid shipping. Like I said, right? We had a really good week. So I'm fairly happy with this week. Turned out to be a good week, y'all. All right, so next is going to be a free item. Remember, like I always say, check those free boxes. You never know what's going to be in those free boxes. So check those free boxes at the end of the road, or when somebody's at the end of the day having a garage sale. Even during a garage sale, sometimes I'll just have by the road, a box that says free. Check those boxes. Pick this book up. It was free. Coyote and His Name was the name of the book. It sold this week for $29.95. I paid $0 for that book. Cha-ching. I love those. I love when it's free. All right, so picked up this little antique menagerie. Now, I didn't pick it up. my husband did. He saw it and he knew immediately what it was. So it's like a little menagerie, and it has little tiny cups and all kinds of like tea sets and stuff on the inside of it. It almost looks like the storefront of a antique, store, basically. And he paid $6 for this. Even had the little glass at the top was missing. I don't know if it fell out or broke or what, but it was missing. It wasn't there. It sold this week for $89.95. And that was picked up at Goodwill. Goodwill still has some good things, y'all. Y'all need to be checking them out at least once a week. We go multiple times a week, but at least once a week you need to be checking out your local Goodwill and your local Salvation Army or Savers, whatever it is that you have close to you. And we normally will do the yard sales on the weekend, and then during the week we'll stop by the local Goodwill. And then of course whenever we're traveling, or whenever my husband's traveling, he'll stop at the different locations, thrift stores and Goodwills as he's traveling. All right, moving right along. Now, I just picked this up. Of course, I just did a video, so this sold really, really quick. And I hope that I'm not going to butcher this name, but I'm sure I probably am. I paid 25 cents for this little guy. It's a Schultz? I'm not sure. Okay, so something like that. Starts with a SCH. And it's called The World of Knights. And he sold for $4.95, paid 25 cents for him. Now, at this next garage sale, I saw this box of like patterns for Cabbage Patch and all these like old magazines, anything. I paid about $3 for the whole box and have listed already the whole entire box. Now, if I was to divide that up, I paid $1 for this particular listing. It was a listing for 2 original baby doll sets. So I guess they were dolls that you would sew the heads on and sew the little arms and the legs, and they look very similar to Cabbage Patch dolls. Made an offer to the buyer for $14. They accepted, and that got shipped out today. So super excited about that. Just because it's all starting to sell. I only have $3 into the whole box. If I was to divide it out, $1, man, 14 bucks. Yeah, I'm doing good so far. At least I think I am. All right. Now, last but not least, at this same garage sale, this lady had this Cabbage Patch knit set. It was like the little sweater with the little hand warmers. Paid $1.25 for it, and it sold via an offer that we sent. $12, buyer paid shipping, and it got, of course, sent out this week. All right, guys, so that is what sold this week, and I want to say that the uptick in our sales is 100% because of all of the listings that I have done. I literally sat and did a full day, probably 8 hours, and did nothing but list all day long. And I think that's what kind of triggered all of these sales coming in, because the week before was kind of skinny, but this week has been a lot better. So the summer slowdown just puts a bee in my bonnet, but we are making it work. So make sure that if you have an eBay store, or if you have any listings on eBay, that you are going through when your sales are kind of slow, not only listing, but some of your older listings, make sure that you're tweaking them a little bit and adding, move a picture around, or, tweak the title, or, add something in the categories or something, just to make sure that there's activity going constantly in your eBay store or in your eBay items. It will help your sales. All right, guys, so that's it for me today. I will see you next time. Make sure that you subscribe. Bye.